Start us off with the Kenyan Shilling. What is happening? It appears to be on a free fall.
Thanks, Larry. I think my view would be that for a while now, the reason why we've seen the shilling stabilize for the last good part of this year is really attributable to the actions by the central bank last year to raise interest rates to the level of 18% for the central bank rate, and that therefore resulted in a subsequent increase in interest rates across the board. So we saw a lot of inflow, a lot of interest in foreign investors keen on investing in the high-yielding fixed income securities. Subsequently, for the most part of the year, in line with the declines in inflation, we've actually seen interest rates start declining from a level of about 21% for the 91-day T-bill. We are now at 9%. And I think it's a reflection of the fact that a lot of investors are now looking for other higher yielding opportunities outside Kenya, and part of that will therefore account for the exit of foreign inflows. And I think what is also acknowledged is that structurally we still remain highly import dependent. We have a huge current account deficit, and I think that is a reflection of the fact that for the long term the shilling would always be vulnerable to a decline. Eventually.
Kenya's Finance Minister Njeru Githai, speaking in Tanzania yesterday, said this weakness is temporary. Do you think the fundamentals support that? And his argument is that the fundamentals have not changed.
Yes, okay. I would agree that in terms of his account that there's a lot of outflow because of local institutions remitting the dividends to the shareholders outside of the country. That could be a factor. But I think one of the other issues that we also have to remember is that global crude oil prices have also gone up during the year, and the fact that we are our import bill is quite high when it comes to crude oil, and we've already seen that translated to the domestic fuel prices. That also means that our requirement for forex is also high. We are still investing in infrastructure, which requires heavy capital equipment that needs to be imported. So I would say the fundamentals still remain, but I think the overriding issue is that they need to change the structure of the economy to be much more export oriented, and so that we can be able to balance our import needs with inflows from exports.
Speaking of macro matters, inflation slowed to 12.22% yesterday from 13.06% in the previous month. Are you seeing this likely to head to single digits towards September, as the finance minister alluded to?
Yes, I think ultimately the indications are that if you look at the trend that we've seen since the beginning of the year, we were at a peak of 19.7% in November last year. We've gradually seen that decline. Again, it is also a reflection of improved weather conditions. We're also coming from a fairly high base, so there's also the base effect because last year, when you compare May to May, inflation had already started increasing significantly last year, and as efforts by the central bank to try and tame the high levels of inflation starts to bear fruit, I think ultimately we are likely to see the overall inflation get down to single-digit levels by the end of the year.
Hi, Einstein. This is Mashudu here at the Johannesburg studios. I just wanted to shift gear a bit and look at the equity markets, the market falling back in yesterday's trading session, but Longhorn Publishers coming in quite positively on its first day of trading, up 43%, sitting at 1650. Facebook could learn a thing or two from Longhorn, would you say?
I think in terms of when we look at the volume of the trade, I think one factor that we'd like to mention is the fact that, yes, it's a good indication of the fact that we now have a new entrant to the market, and we expect even others to come in. And it also gives an opportunity to shareholders to unlock the value. But with regard to the share price, I think if you look at the transaction yesterday, the volume of shares traded was, I think, 4,200 shares. So I think we'd have to see a lot more volume to be able to get an indication as to where the price, the share price would settle at. But it is a good indication that we are having we are expecting new companies to come into the market to list.
Einstein, maybe you could post this on your Facebook page as well. Why is there a bit of slow activity this week at the NSE?
Well, it's a reflection. I think the market had really gone up quite a bit over the last few months. And I think it's more of I would attribute it to a cooling off period on the market before we actually start seeing a reflection of an upswing in the market. For the last few months, we've seen strong earnings results from the companies, so that has driven a lot of investor appetite, particularly the foreign investor component. So it had to get to a point where I think the market would cool off a bit, and I think that is what we are seeing, some element of profit taking. And I think that is the key reason why we're seeing a slowdown in the equity market.